Oh, you knew we were coming back for round two. Once you get my bloodlust going, it cannot be satiated. And the main course being served up tonight is both a delicacy and an acquired taste. It would seem a sizable population of the fighting game community just does not have the speed, or skill, or timing, or stamina to keep up with what this series throws at them. Or maybe they're just afraid of girls. Either way, I've been taking the time to talk with fans of the series for the past few days and have seen that some of you are hurting for content and just hurting in general after being steamrolled with tragedy this week. I may be a black-hearted demon girl, but I get it. I really do. So if we can bring the tiniest bit of solace to the community while celebrating the life and works of Itagaki, I'm all in. So let's hit the lights and scooch in real tight on the couch, cause there's a lot of new faces and these wired controls only stretch so far. We're playing DOA 2 Hardcore. I can still remember the day I got this game. So I go on a movie date with the cutest ginger ever, not so much watching the movie, mostly just making out the whole time. But afterwards we took a walk down Wolf Street just window shopping when a copy of DOA 2 catches my eye in a used record store of all places. And I was all about collecting games I'd missed out on at that point, so this was a huge score. So now I'm trying to convince this girl to end the date early so we can get some two-player in, and she's trying to convince me to go to her place and fool around. Well, sucks to be her, cause I wanted to play some video games. And I think we can all agree that was the correct decision. Directly following the events of the first game, minus a few things we didn't get to see, this is almost like the true starting point of the series. This FMV may just be a tiny bit out of date, but it does an amazing job setting up the full backstory of the series. Ayane is no longer the hidden character. She is out front and center, growing up alongside Kasumi and Hayate, although due to her not-so-consensual fathering by Roto, she was raised separately outside the clan by Genra. And not to get too weird with the technicalities, but if Raudu is the elder brother of Shiden, Kasumi's pop, then wouldn't they be more like three-quarter sisters than half-sisters? I'm just asking. So one day, Roro decides to come up on Kasumi's clan, beating people's asses at random in an attempt to get his hand on a new special move, and Ayane's in her rebellious teen years, so she's like, "Fuck you, Dad, I'll date whoever I want." But he just spanks her and sends her off to her room sulking. And big brother Hayate isn't about to put up with any of that. If anyone is going to spank his sister, it's going to be him. So he runs up on Rita attempting to deliver a fade, which I believe is a type of haircut. It doesn't go so well, with him receiving a literal smackdown from his unk. In desperation, Hayate goes and does the one thing he wasn't supposed to do, charging up his very own Kamehameha wave in the form of the Torn Sky Blast, which incidentally is what Ricky wanted him to do. So they beam clash, with Hayate taking the hit, sending him into a deep coma, and Kasumi out on her quest of vengeance, branding her as a traitor to the clan, becoming a shinobi for Sega Genesis. You got all that? Good, cause we're barely halfway there. After Kasumi confronted and exploded Ruru in the first tournament, Daltech kidnapped her for an undisclosed amount of time, performing experiments leading to the clone Kasumi Alpha. Now, I always forgot about this character, cause this ain't Alpha 152. This version is more like a palette swap, but with an alt costume. Around the same time that's going on, Thame Douglas, the head of Daltech, gets assassinated, and in an attempt to keep Helena from inheriting the company, they try to take her out as well, with her mother Maria taking the shot, so now she's out for revenge. The real villain, if you can call him that, is the Tengu. Goya Kumani Bakosu Tengu. We're calling him Tengu. Even the game itself isn't putting up with that bullshit. Tengu are a type of mountain-dwelling yokai, known for their big noses and funny hats, and preying on small children. And no, I'm not going any further into that. Moving on. We've got a demon situation, which puts our bro, the Ninja Gaiden himself, Ryu Hayabusa, out front and center as the true main character of Part 2. Which means I had to do a run with him. And I suck ass playing as him. Hooray! Even better, guess whose recording software didn't capture half of the first run? So I got to do it twice. Wow, that intro went on a little long. Usually I'm wrapping things up by now, and we are just getting started. In case you were wondering if my love for this series is authentic, that should be your sign. And speaking of which, I have seen a bit of negativity coming from a minority of the fan base, talking about fake fans and tourists. From my POV, the more of you jumping in, the better. If we want this series to continue, we need to get those numbers up. So if you are currently questioning if DOA is worth getting into, 5 and 6 core are free on Steam. Character selection might be limited in arcade and versus, but you can in fact try out every character with the side modes. And it runs great, even on my shitty PC. I want everyone playing. And if someone calls you a fake fan, you can tell them to suck my dick. Let's jump back to basics real quick. Some have referred to DOA as the best game of rock, paper, scissors ever, which is a good mindset to have to get started. If someone is getting aggressive with the attacks, don't turtle up, hit them with a counterattack. And if someone is playing defensively trying to lure you into a trap, get them with a throw. And if that same someone decides to go grappler mode, punch them in the fucking face. In-game. A tiny feature I love about this series is that it has both 2D and 3D blocking, by which I mean there is a dedicated block button like with Virtua Fighter, which most of my friends who were new to fighting games would use. But you also have old-school 2D reactionary blocking by moving backwards, which I prefer because it lets you further take advantage of how this game allows you to shift momentum. Though, if you really want to play pro, you're going to have to learn how to do both in the appropriate situations. Sidestepping and crossing opponents is also an option, though it is still not as smooth and fully developed in this version, relying a bit more on that counter button. You could still pull off some nice redirection, but being able to do it by simply shifting your body like in 4 just feels so much more natural. And this might be a wild theory that just popped into my head last second, but that stiffness could have something to do with this game starting out on Dreamcast. I've had extensive experience with ports from that console, and something is always up with the D-pad. You don't believe me? Try Shenmue 2 on Xbox. Absolutely nightmarish. Alright, content, what we got? Well, it's a mixed bag. Going head-to-head at the arcade was the thing you did at the time, so the single-player stuff is a bit minimal. You got a story mode, with every character having a few predetermined matches to drip you the tiniest bit of plot, but if we're gonna keep things honest, I was disappointed with the short-player endings from day one. It legit felt like I was doing something wrong, or not playing on a high enough difficulty. The inverse to that is the versus options, with Dead or Alive 2 supporting a tag team mode. Now, this is hilarious to me in the dumbest way, because you gotta understand, around the same time Capcom was raking it in making back-to-back games based on the tag gimmick, with other franchises getting in on the trend like Tekken Tag, DOA was just over here sneaking it in as a standard feature with zero fucks given. Like, yeah, we got a tag team mode too. Who cares, nerd? We're so confident in our 1v1 that we're barely even gonna mention it on the back of the box. Incidentally, one of the funniest things I've seen this week is videos of new DOA players learning about the CPU having zero issues full comboing you with tag switch-ups. Like, yeah guy, the fighting game with all the cute girls will in fact smack you around like a dweeb. And hey, it did the same to me. It's been a while, and I kinda forgot how to do the special tag moves, but my opponent didn't. As mentioned, Helene is my main in this one, but a close second is Hayate, which is kinda hilarious since in this context, they're both the newcomers. But I took him into survival mode to play around for a bit, and since I kinda remembered that you could unlock all the costumes if you grab 200 stars, but you have to also unlock Bayman for the stars to appear, and I forgot to do that. So, moving on. I know it feels like we're cutting it short. Believe you me, would love to keep gushing over this one. And with nostalgia blinders on, it's still my second favorite in the series. But these are called Quickies, not Longies, and I've got a Halloween party to prep for. And we are not done with DOA. I'm in the mood to go back through the entire mainline series, even if that's a bit easier said than done. Don't worry, I've still got my copies. It's the recording part that might be a little tricky. But we will burn that bridge once we've crossed it. Maybe we'll jump to 6. I'm crazy like that. Unpredictable. Get some more people hip to the free version, they might stick around for the real thing. Anyway, I'm gonna start getting decorated for next week. Thank you to all the lovely, lovely people for watching, and to everyone who got adopts. And a happy Halloween to everyone, just in case we don't see you at that thing. It is wild coming back to this after 4, knowing Ayani is just trolling right now, like, I didn't assassinate her mom, but I'ma make her think I did. Who said women can't be funny?